Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
And will. I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night guy.
Yeah.
Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again,
I don't think this is a proper. I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And will I watch it? No. And do I value it? No.
Joe Rogan has warned that Jake Paul is entering extremely dangerous territory by even thinking about fighting Anthony Joshua. Rogan explained that Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist and one of the most powerful heavyweights of this generation. He believes Joshua would take the fight very seriously and may try to make an example out of Jake to stop him from calling out elite fighters for money. Rogan says the skill gap is so wide that the matchup could end in a brutal way for Jake.
My God, if he beat Anthony Joshua, good Lord. Good Lord. I mean, that's a big if, right?
I mean,
Anthony Joshua,
I do not think,
Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yeah, I just think it's all about the promotion or whatever. I have no idea what the actual motivation is for that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
And will. I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch.
Wade Plemons, host of the Wade Concept podcast, also issued a strong warning to Jake Paul. He highlighted that Jake weighs around 90 kilograms, while Joshua competes near 111 kilograms, a huge difference in weight, strength, and natural power. Plemons explained that picking fun matchups is one thing, but stepping in with an Olympic gold-winning heavyweight is something entirely different. He believes a knockout from Joshua could leave long-lasting damage and called the potential fight not just a mismatch, but something that could seriously impact Jake's health. According to him, Jake's desire for big paydays is distracting him from the real risks.
in making this fight, one, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw, and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Boxing Kingdom reported on X that negotiations are underway for Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua as a full professional boxing match under official Queensberry rules. This means it would not be an exhibition, no shortcuts, no modified rules, just a sanctioned fight with judges, referees, and full scoring. Rumors quickly spread that the fight could happen in December. However, Eddie Hearn, Joshua's longtime promoter, pushed back on the claims, saying no contracts have been signed yet and much of the buzz is premature. Veteran journalist Ariel Helwani, on the other hand, said the sheer amount of talk suggests something real is happening behind the scenes. Helwani believes when rumors gain this much momentum, they often lead to an actual event, possibly late this year or early next year. Despite Hearn's caution, Helwani remains confident the fight is closer than people think.
Joshua and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell Ring Magazine Paul steps up massively to fight the former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was canceled. Major props to Paul. So there you have it. In the midst of all this, I did reach out to Eddie Hearn, as did Gareth, and he said, "We have spoken, but nothing close, and I doubt he would be so crazy." He being Jake. I then asked him, "Would you say this report is premature?" He said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "Can I attribute this to you?" And he said, "Yes." And so what do we make of this, guys? Do we think there's smoke to this fire? PT, what do you think? You think this is something that could actually happen? This would be within the next month, right? This would be sometime between now and probably December 19th or so, in that time frame. What do you think?
I think it's a huge fight. You know, I didn't expect this at all. Usually when Jake is in a fight, the odds feel like they're stacked very much in his favor. This is the complete opposite of that. I'd very much agree with Gareth A. Davis's take, which was I'd expect Joshua to obliterate him in a boxing match. I mean, look what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou before that Dubois fight. Like, I mean, it was a completely different affair than the Tyson Fury fight. I think, having heard Eddie Hearn's update and having looked at that tweet again, it feels like boxing's equivalent to the old in the works reporting that we used to see in MMA an awful lot, right? Like when we weren't quite sure, maybe one side had verified that this fight is happening, but you can't get the other side to commit, and it's in the works. It's a huge fight. The one thing I will say is, why would you want that out there? Why would the Ring report this? Why would someone give them that information if it wasn't going to happen? Now, because everything else pales in comparison to this, as far as I'm concerned. Every other fight that they had perspective or potential, I don't think it's as big as Anthony Joshua. So I don't know.
This isn't a ring fight, right?
This
isn't a ring fight. Anthony Joshua is tied to DAZN. Anthony Joshua has a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh Season. The Ring is owned.
MMA Fighting posted Leon Edwards' reaction to the ongoing rumors. Edwards said that if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock Jake Paul out within 1 or 2 rounds, the fight must be fixed. His comment highlights the enormous difference in ability and punching power between the two. Edwards' reaction shows just how seriously fighters view the danger Jake would face, and how little they believe he can withstand Joshua's strength.
Don't know if you've seen this fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. As a Brit, how do you evaluate?
I've just seen that. Someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if Asia doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going to Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it, you know?
It's going to be next month they're working towards.
Oh, yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
Cheers.
Francis Ngannou, the former MMA heavyweight champion turned boxer, previously fought Anthony Joshua, and suffered a devastating knockout. That moment proved Joshua's power and ability at heavyweight are very real. Jake Paul had earlier discussed a possible matchup with Ngannou, which was already a dangerous idea given Ngannou's reputation. But now, the attention has shifted to Joshua, who is arguably an even greater threat. Jake is considering a man who not only knocked out Ngannou but has repeatedly shown elite size, speed, and skill at heavyweight. In short, Jake is chasing a fighter far more dangerous than Ngannou, a decision with massive potential reward but enormous risk. Before talks shifted to Joshua, the proposed fight was Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou. Ngannou publicly declined the offer, calling it disrespectful and saying he wouldn't waste time fighting a crossover YouTuber turned boxer.
Right, with Jake, and everything's wrong with Francis. He can go with Francis. So now all of a sudden you start satisfying both ends of this. Okay. So when that falls through, the rumor is that Francis and Jake are still in talks. Even though Francis did not come through on the event he was offered and the date he was offered, MVP and Netflix may be willing to reschedule everything and still make him part of it. And Francis' big statement was just, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's not what I'm looking for. Doesn't make sense. Okay. That's not my business. I can't be mad at Francis for that. That just cost Francis a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That just cost Francis life-changing money. I can't be mad. If I'm mad at Francis, then I got my way. He cut off his nose to spite his face. I can't be mad at him. He's already been punished. What good does it do me to be mad at him? All right. Well, then you bring in Joshua, and Joshua shows you how it's done. Right? Joshua and Francis are not remarkably comparable. I mean, not only did they box, they're not remarkably comparable, but in the world of boxing and just the accomplishments. I mean, you take Joshua Benson, Olympic finalist, for goodness sakes, right? Just like lifelong, very well known. Multiple generations of boxing ties. You know, go all the way back to Klitschko. Go all the way back. You couldn't go before Klitschko was there first, but you go all the way back to Klitschko. Anything that has ever happened in the sport of boxing says you can tie Joshua to. And he's a professional, and above everything else, he's a real boxer. So if he is to say something makes sense, then it makes sense. Right? If you have Joshua's opinion of does this make sense to now, none of us know what sense mean. We don't even know if he's spelling it with an S or a C. None of us can define or tell you what this means. It makes such little sense that Francis can't even tell you why it doesn't make sense. But again, I can't be mad at Francis. He already pissed down his own leg. So, but if you could have Francis's opinion of what in the world of boxing or combat or money or business or sport makes sense, like Francis's level of success is not remarkably